Hello YouTube, this is BUB'S Comics coming at you with a figure review. I know I don't do too many of these on my channel, but I do collect some figures and I do collect some statues, and what I enjoy most about them is having a very small tight collection of figures and statues. Probably have less than 100 combined figures and statues. That would include all my pops, my figures, my action figures from when I was a kid, as well as the more, I say, figures with higher production value, such as my small sideshow collection and my NECA collection. So anyway, I don't do a whole lot of these. Really, if you're looking for more for better videos on such things, I would recommend two channels to you. I would recommend Centauri Stir Fry. He does fantastic videos, just so many great statues that he collects, and it's just amazing stuff, and just a great channel, so check him out. And also I would check out Area 51. Mike does a great job doing a lot of figure reviews and statue reviews, and I know he's a big NECA fan as well. So definitely check them out. If you're into figures and statues, you're probably already subscribed to them, but if you're not, check them out. And if I'm really good at what I do, I might have a link below, but sometimes that doesn't happen. So, and perhaps sometimes during this video you'll see a couple of homages to their channels. So if you're already subscribed to them, be on the lookout for that. Okay, so let's get started. I already have these out of the package. These were birthday gifts from my family. I did select them, so they weren't surprise gifts or anything like that. These are some figure grails for me. So the first one we have up is RoboCop. And this one is just the 25th anniversary edition, and it says part man, part machine, all cop, the future of law enforcement, OCP and all that stuff. So if you like RoboCop, this is for you. I got the battle damaged edition. Now this is just the empty package because the packaging really wasn't anything that spectacular. I'm not even going to keep it probably past this video. I might keep the back insert. I kept it clean. I might put that in a bag and board, but the rest of it's going to go. Just blister pack, basically nothing special, which is surprising because I suspected that anytime NECA puts out a figure that they probably did more than this. But this is one of the Reel Toys edition. So you can see its development was Randy Falk. The sculpt was by Thomas Gwynn, and the photography was Stephen Mazurek, and the packaging illustrations was Chris Longo. So if that helps you at all, I believe this came out in 2012 for the 25th anniversary. So there you go. It says ages 17 and up, and I'll show you why in a minute. He doesn't come with much. We'll go ahead and show him right now. Okay, so here we have RoboCop. You see him. I posed him, so I'm sorry for all that. I'm not a big poser. You know, it's Mike does a good Poser Wednesday, so I'm not a big poser, but I do what I can. And so here's the pose that I chose because it reminds me the most of RoboCop. I like how he always had his hand and he was always steady and planted whenever he fired and shot. So so there you go. And he does come with a gun, but he doesn't have, you can't holster the gun. So I know in some cases there were some figures out there where this door opened up and the gun went inside of his leg, but in this version it does not. So the gun is always either in his hand or you can take it out and there's nowhere to put it. Couple of interesting things about this figure. One, of course, the battle damage. So we'll do a close-up of this later, but you'll get to see more of that battle damage. You look around the back here, you know, he's got the robo butt, so that's always nice. He's pretty posable. These hands spin, they turn. Of course, all the normal joints move. These are kind of like on rotating ball joints that are outside, so that's really nice, because if you remember from the movie or whatever, that did have a gap to it when he walked. This was kind of a disconnected look, so it still has that. One of the most interesting features of this RoboCop, and I think possibly, now I know that there are some like Chinese reproductions of these, so be careful if you're ordering these from China. This one was, you know, I had to pay twice as much as the Chinese ones to get an American one, and you can really tell that it's solid. If you've ever ordered a piece from somewhere else, from another country or something, and you've noticed that they're just kind of wonky, or they fall apart real fast, or the mold isn't quite right, so you can kind of tell once you get it, but in the package they look exactly the same, you know, when they're shipping them. But this has a little like piston here for his foot mechanism, and if you can see that, I hope that actually goes in and out. So that piston actually, there's like a little stick that goes inside, which is really cool. I really like that. That's one of my favorite features of this figure. So anyway, there's RoboCop. Head moves, and he comes with a hand switch out, which I think this is one of the reasons why he gets a 17 and up rating, is for this right here. So if you remember the movie, he uses this as like his data transfer port, and he can go in and out, and you know, whatever, you know, it's what they figured you know, the future would be like, right? And then he also uses it to give bad guys the finger. So there you go. So, and that's a switch out that comes for his right hand, and I think that's pretty cool. So they gave you one extra piece there, and I'm glad they did. So, but other than that, there you go. There's RoboCop battle damage. Now there's a regular version of him as well that's not battle damage. You can see, show you some of the battle damage. So he has this, is very movie accurate. So his head is kind of messed up where they were scoring on it, and the eye is poked through. He's missing one of his loops on the chest plate. A lot of great damage and detail. It really looks good carbon scoring on that. Looks fantastic, and kind of the oil slick and carbon scoring. They really did a great job, and the paint on this is perfect. So there are other figures. In fact, Neca makes other figures for RoboCop, but this was the one I wanted because the paint had that perfect like steel blue look to it. If you're a gun enthusiast, you know what I'm talking about. But it just has that perfect steel blue. Other figures that they've put out in the past are just flat out blue, and others are just plain silver. So to get that metallic silvery blue just right, I thought was great. So the paint work on this, and I love the little feet. The attention to detail was done really well on this figure. It's very, very impressive. I'm very, very happy with that. So there you go. RoboCop by Neca, 25th Anniversary Edition. Hope y'all enjoy that. Alright, next up we got the big boy. We got ED-209. Now this truly was my main, you know, getting the RoboCop figure, I wanted him, but I mostly wanted him because NECA had put out a 30th anniversary ED-209, which I think is the best ED-209 ever done. And what's funny is that there's not many ED-209s done. So I'll show you this box a little bit. It's got ED-209 there, and it's got the future of law enforcement. It's got a little scene. It's my understanding you can actually buy this background somewhere. I don't know where to get that. But anyway, it says RoboCop figure sold separately, and that is the RoboCop figure that I got, only it's not battle damaged. And it has push button activation and sound and all this great stuff. So the information on this is this one came out in 2017, so of course the other one was 2012, so you're looking at 5 years difference. So the other one was 25th anniversary, this was 30th anniversary, and it's a Real Toys NECA as well. It's again developed by Randy Falk. The sculpt is Brad Haskins, Jeff Richard, and prototypes by Adam Smith, photography by Stephen Mazurek again, and the paint is by John Wardell and Jeffrey Trapp, and the rest is all normal stuff. So I think it's pretty cool. I just absolutely love it. It's with sound. It's figuring with sound, and the price on this, I paid more than retail, but I wanted a brand new one in the box because, you know, when you get these posers, when you get old posers or ones that are out of the box, the joints can be very loose. They upon inspection, when you get them in hand, you'll find a lot of little nicks and dings and scratches or paint swipes from other figures. You don't want any of that. You want a brand new pristine copy to display. So okay, so here we have ED-209 next to the Cyclops X-Men Jim Lee Funko Pop. And just for size comparison, I suppose, let's focus on Ed here. He looks fantastic. So at one point in my life, I was a compliance officer for a corporation, and I really loved that job, I have to say. I enjoy that kind of stuff, and I always wanted this figure because, you know, he always says, you know, you have 15 seconds to comply, right? So I always wanted this up in my office. Never could find one at that time. Of course, now 2017, right? This comes out, and missed the boat on when I was then looking. They have other figures out there, but there's really not many. This figure doesn't get made very often, I think because it's so big and it's so imposing, and it's so this one is so detailed, and when they're not that detailed, they look like crap. So this one is just this figure here. I just can't say enough about it, and it talks. So let's get some of that action going. Which is fantastic. And it's got a host of phrases, all direct from the movie. In fact, there's one, a very famous scene in the movie where he is on demonstration, and he, you know, the guy, they make the fella in the boardroom hold a gun, and then ED-209 tears him to shreds anyway, even though it was just a demonstration. And they actually play that entire scene out, complete with the woman in the background screaming while he's firing away. So I think it's really interesting that they used direct movie sounds. He has a mixed level of posability. So the head here turns. He has no switch outs or accessories of any kind. The head here turns, and it turns right here from the base, if you can see that. The arms are rotating. They rotate up and down only. So that's it. And they swing out. So they can move like this or up and down. It would look like these would do something, but I haven't been able to get them to do anything. They're just kind of loosely on there. But he's got the rockets. These flaps go up and down. You see on the back here, his feet, of course, move back and forth, and also they're height adjustable, so you can slide this out to make him about 3 inches taller. I like because when he walks, he kind of puts that forward, and he has an awkward walk, if you recall from the movie. But I like it in this stance. Again, this is the stance I created. So, and I'll show you at the end how I put him up in my display. I'm very pleased with that. So this is my ED-209. He just looks fantastic. He's so scary looking. I mean, that thing coming down at you, they really captured the fear that I had as a kid. I remember that he was a scary character, and he really looked like a machine animal, and they really captured him perfectly in this. I just can't say enough about it. There's a little bit of paint here on the inside of his mouth that's not exactly done right, but actually it gives it some character because it looks like a little bit worn. Again, the paint color and the scheme on this is perfect, and it matches perfectly with the RoboCop. They are a perfect match, and they just look great. So there you go, ED-209 2017. one of my figure Grails. This was the real Grail. The RoboCop was an add-on, so I could do a scene, and I really love the RoboCop too. So, but together they make a great team, and I suggest you go pick them up. And I would have been really mad if I was there at 2012 picking up the RoboCop and didn't have an ED-209 to put with it. So, so there you go. Reel Toys by Neca, ED-209, and we had RoboCop. So I thank you all, and there'll be another big Grail figure review coming up from Marvel, so we'll get into that when it comes. And thank you all so much, and thanks to my family for getting me these. I absolutely love them. Very treasured in my collection, and I had to redo my entire shelf just to make room for these because they're pretty big. So, alright, thank you so much, and we'll catch you on the next one. Is BUB'S Comics saying read a comic? Or just play with your toys? Yeah, this is BUB'S Comics signing off saying play with your toys. Thanks. Bye.